As a boxing fan and an Errol Spence fan, I really gotta tell you, I hate what I'm seeing. I hate all the excuses that's being made for Errol. Whether it be the weight drained or something was wrong with him on fight night or he was too rusty for the fight, or you got people now saying that Crawford he was on the juice, he had something in his system, or all type of excuses being made. It's like, bro, it's a difference between like being a fanatic and just being a fan of somebody. Then you have some emotional dudes on the internet saying like it like they cry with Errol lost or something like that. Granted, I was a fan and it stung a little bit watching, not the fact that he lost, but watching me get beat like that. It was like, ugh, left a bad taste in my mouth for a little bit. But it's like when you go back and think about it, for one, he kept thinking he was Floyd Mayweather. He kept thinking he could take these long layoffs and get back in the ring and fight contenders. Not even contenders, fight world championship level fighters. But two, dude, you said it yourself for like a couple years now. He's been saying that I'm ready to move up, I'm ready to move up, I'm ready to move up. Sometimes you gotta know when to let go, bro. You gotta know when something's like, I had my opportunity to do it, it's gone now. Let it go. He should have been moved out of the weight class. If he was weight drained, that's on Errol Spence. He knew he kept ballooning up to 190 and 180. You can't keep killing yourself to get back down to 147. Drinking milkshakes and like protein shakes and eating like a hamster. He ain't eating up but like vegetables and stuff. Like there's no reason you should be eating like that as a professional fighter, bro. You need something else in your body to eat. Like if you knew you were malnutrition, like tired and weight drained, you never should have took the fight. And then you let Terrence take all the money. You let him get all the money about you in negotiations for the fight. It was too many signs for Errol to say it's done and over with. I'm gonna just go ahead and move up. Personally, I think he should have been moved up. When he came off that wreck, he should have said, "Look, I'm going to 154. Then after that, I'm gonna have another fight at 154, and I'm moving up to 160." That way, he wouldn't have interfered with Charlo, and they could have just went to 160. Because Jamal Charlo's been at 160, he ain't moved up to 168, and Jamal Charlo's been out for so long, he's really not fighting anybody. He could have been moved up to 160. Like I said before, that's on Errol Spence. That's on him. That's a grown man. He made that decision. And for people saying there's something wrong with him, there's been something wrong with him. Errol's like, he's been a little off since the wreck. But once again, that's on Errol Spence. He took the fight. And I think there's an interview that just came out of Bomac saying Terrence and Bomac studied Errol for years, ever since Errol's been getting called the boogeyman of the division. They've been studying all Errol's fights, and he's been making the same mistakes, and they expected to capitalize on the mistakes. That's why leading up to the fight, they kept saying, well, Bomac kept saying, this is going to be the easiest fight ever. And Errol walked into that fight thinking he was going to do Terrence the same way he did everybody else. I'm going to just mow him down and chop away at him until he eventually, his body give away and I can get a late stoppage or something like that. That's on Errol Spence. He underestimated Terrence Crawford and he paid for it tenfold. He got in there and got whooped. Terrence Crawford beat him easier than he beat anybody else in his career. When I seen the fight, I knew it when I seen it. I was like, Terrence prepared for Spence, but Spence didn't prepare for Terrence Crawford, if that makes sense. Meaning, Terrence seen the same thing that everybody else was seeing. Well, the same thing I was seeing. Errol comes in, he give a jab to this other place, but he leans in and leans his head to the side. Caught. First knockdown. Then he kept doing the same thing, which tells you Errol didn't have a game plan for that fight. He went into that fight with the same arrogance he had when he announced the fight. When he said it's gonna be an old fashioned ass whooping, a one sided ass whooping. He thought he was gonna go in there and mow Terrence down. That's what he thought he was gonna do. And Terrence saw all the holes in Errol's game and he prepared for it for years. He's been waiting on this fight, and he said it after the fight, after he whooped Errol and had Errol looking like the Elephant Man. He said, I've been wanting this fight for years. I've been waiting for this fight. The man has been waiting for this fight and looking at all the holes in your game, and he exposed you. And for Errol to say, man, my timing was off. My timing was off. No, that man was just a better fighter than that. You said that too, but he was just ready for you, bro. I mean, he was just ready for you. There's nothing you could have did on that night. I don't think there's any version of Errol that could have beat Terrence that night because Terrence was ready for every version of Errol Spence because he prepared so well for Errol Spence. And it's just all the excuses people were making were just ridiculous. Just all that stuff leads right back to Errol Spence. It's on him. He took the fight knowing that he was at 147 for too long. He took the fight knowing that he gave way too much up in the negotiations. And he took that fight knowing damn well he was on too much of a layoff. You was on damn near 2 years of a layoff, and you took that fight. You should have took a tune-up. That is a fight. That is a legacy-defining fight. Now you look bad coming into a rematch because don't nobody want to see a rematch because you got whooped up on the first fight. The man beat you all around the ring in the first fight. You might be able to do something if you come back at 154, but it's hard to tell because the way you got whooped in the first fight. You're going to have to really prepare for the second fight. But Showtime and PBC really not trying to give it to you because you had a bad showing in the first fight. But all in all, it's on Errol Spence. He ain't got nobody to blame but himself. And I wish people stop giving him all type of excuses as to